Perfect. Good morning and welcome to our weekly episode of PLA. I'm here with Bruno today. Bruno, how are you going?
Well, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. We had a good long weekend, so we're fresh, ready to answer some questions.
Exactly. And looking forward for the next weekend to come.
There we go. Bruno, first question I've got for you today is we've had a couple of clients coming in and they have questions with regards to financial investment scams. Okay. Obviously, each client's situation is a little bit different and there are a lot of schemes out there, but I thought you could just touch on these scams, give people a little bit of guidance on how to be careful out there in the market.
So these financial scams in the property sector are becoming very prominent. They take a variety of different shapes and forms, but ultimately what you typically tend to find is that there's a fraudster that approaches a landowner and under the guise of whether it's a loan or assisting them in any way, they manage to take ownership of this property or the right to transfer ownership of this property, and they successfully sell the property on to somebody else who, obviously becoming owner, finds themselves in the predicament where they're knocking on the door and the previous owner is still there, very unaware that the property's been sold. And you can imagine the conflict that creates, especially for property investors. As a property investor, what happens if you're the person buying the property from this fraudster and now you get stuck with this eviction? Now, if you're the landowner, let's maybe start off with the landowner. So when have we experienced this type of scenario? Normally, it's the distressed landowners. So these are guys that owe the bank a lot of money, that owe the municipality. One reason or another, they're distressed. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that actually do well by these landowners, and they approach the landowner. They make actual legitimate offers on the property. They might not always be as high as the landowner would like, but they take these properties off their hand, very much like the we buy cars scenario, where it's a quick, easy method of disposing of a property. Now, these fraudsters come in under very similar guise. The difference here is it sounds too good to be true, and it's because it is. So these fraudsters are willing to lend money. And the person staying in this house, this landowner, is fascinated by this because there's such little vetting that gets done. Very little gets done. And what they actually do is they might cover the arrears on the bond just to buy time with the bank. And sometimes it's a 50,000, 90,000 Rand arrears. And as a landowner, it's lovely because now there's no more letters of demand. And they offer a repayment plan where they will assist this person. They'll pay these arrears and this person will inevitably have to pay them back. But what we find naturally is there's no chance that this person's going to be able to pay them back. But the loan is signed anyway because out of the desperation, these landowners take on this deal because it's the best short-term solution for their current predicament. The problem now is, and what they don't realize is the loan agreement. And this comes in a variety of different ways. So I can't say, look out for the loan agreement, because it's not always the case. So I've seen situations where it's an outright purchase agreement that the person signs. They just didn't realize that they signed it. Then I've had other situations where it's a loan agreement that kicks in either a power of attorney or some kind of sale agreement upon the person's default of the loan. I have obviously see now that the deeds office isn't very keen on power of attorneys like that. But these fraudsters, what they actually do is they don't take the power of attorney into their own name. They take it into a name of a third party who then sells the property to them or sells the property on behalf of the owner to somebody else. And as the fraudster, their name is never on any of the documents. So there's many, many different ways. So as an owner, be careful what you're signing. If it's too good to be true and people are throwing money at you, trying to help you, be very careful. Ask the right questions. And normally if there's a conveyancer involved and the person's making a legitimate offer to purchase, speak to the conveyancer because we obviously under professional we have to act under certain professional guidelines and ethics. If you're a property investor and you're getting into this fantastic deal sometimes that's too good to be true. Due diligence. A lot of the guys, for example, manage to get this house vacant on certain days. You go there, you assume that the house is empty, only for there to be an owner that later comes and obviously causes resistance or hampers your investment. So be very careful with that. You don't want to get stuck there, because it's you as a bona fide purchaser fighting a bona fide owner, and this fraudster's disappeared and he's nowhere to be found, and trying to get your money back is virtually impossible, and these battles take forever. So yeah, be very, very careful, guys.
Perfect. Thank you.